The royal rumor mill is buzzing.
There's no doubt that the new monarchs of the United Kingdom are in their twilight years, so speculation has run rampant about what happens.
What would you do if someone rewrote history overnight? Would you stay silent or fight back? In October, Britain woke up to absolute chaos. Something impossible had just happened. And the woman behind it? She wasn't asking for permission anymore. She was taking what she believed the world owed her. Imagine living in someone else's shadow for 30 years. Every day, people comparing you to a ghost. Every headline reminding you that you'll never be good enough. How long would you take it before you snapped? That's exactly what happened with Camilla. For decades, she stayed quiet. She played the part. But something inside her finally broke. And when it did, she made a statement so bold, so shocking, that it sent the entire nation into a frenzy. How far would you go to be remembered? And what would you destroy to make sure the world never forgets your name? The morning that changed everything. The guards at Buckingham Palace couldn't understand what they were looking at. Right there in the middle of the royal courtyard stood a massive bronze statue, not of a past queen, but of Camilla herself, standing tall and proud. Nobody saw it being built. Nobody heard trucks or cranes. It just appeared overnight. Within minutes, the entire country knew about it. Reporters ran to the palace gates, their cameras pushed against the iron fences, trying to capture every angle of this bronze figure. And what they saw wasn't a gentle portrait. This statue showed a woman with her chin raised high, lips pressed together, eyes staring straight at Buckingham Palace itself. This was the look of someone claiming power, not asking for it. The crowds came quickly. People pointed, filmed it, shared it everywhere online. Everyone had the same questions. Who approved this? Did the king know? Within just 1 hour, every news channel was showing the same image. Camilla in bronze, looking like she was declaring a new era. Here's what made it stranger. The palace said absolutely nothing. Every reporter who called got the same response. No comment. That silence made everything worse. Because when the palace goes quiet, people know something big is happening behind those walls. One news reporter said something that stuck with everyone. For over 100 years, no statue has ever been placed in front of Buckingham without proper approval. So the real mystery isn't just about the statue, it's about who had the power to make this happen. The crowd outside kept growing. Some people brought flowers and laid them at the base, treating Camilla like she was already historic.
Late into the night in London Friday, hundreds of people were still laying flowers and cards at the gates of Buckingham Palace.
But others placed photos of Princess Diana next to those flowers. Their handwritten notes said, "You can't replace her," and "We remember the real queen." The atmosphere turned electric with tension. By noon, one question dominated everything. Where was King Charles? Why hadn't he appeared? Television cameras stayed focused on the palace windows, waiting for any sign of movement. But there was nothing. Just silence from behind those walls. When the midday news started, the anchor's voice was serious. This morning, the nation woke up to something nobody expected. A statue of Queen Camilla now stands before Buckingham Palace. The palace hasn't said a word, while everyone wonders if this was officially approved or if the queen consort did this on her own.
Camilla is now the queen. Kind of. The new king's darling wife has become the queen consort.
They showed the statue in slow motion. Camilla's bronze hand resting on her dress, her metallic eyes that seemed almost alive. The news host made an observation that sent chills through viewers. That expression isn't humble. That's the face of someone saying, "I'm here now, and you will not forget me." All over London, people couldn't stop talking about it. Some called it a smart modern move. Others saw it as pure ambition gone too far. An elderly woman told reporters something powerful. If Diana were still alive, she would laugh, but it would be a bitter laugh. Camilla lived in Diana's shadow for decades. Now she wants a statue to prove she matters.
The other woman, a homewrecker, Someone who destroyed a modern fairy tale? Someone who lived in Princess Diana's shadow?
But you can't create real power just by making a sculpture. As the day went on, the debate got more intense. Outside the palace, two different groups of protesters faced each other. One side chanted, "Diana forever," while the other responded with, "Long live Queen Camilla." Police had to put up barriers to keep people separated. Inside Buckingham Palace, the curtains stayed closed. Someone from inside leaked information to the press anonymously. They said no member of the royal family knew this was going to happen. They said some family members were absolutely furious. When evening finally came, the BBC's closing statement sent a chill through everyone. The palace remains completely silent. No statement, no explanation. And in that silence, the whole nation can hear something breaking. Night fell over London. Bright floodlights illuminated the statue. Under those powerful beams, Camilla's bronze figure shimmered. Her eyes stayed fixed on the palace gates. Still, nobody knew who built it. Nobody had the courage to order its removal. That quiet spread across Britain like a storm building. Everyone could feel it. This was just the beginning. The secret behind the bronze. People across Britain started asking impossible questions. How does a statue that size just appear overnight? Who approved it? Who actually built it? These questions sparked an investigation that would reveal secrets nobody was prepared to hear. 3 days after the statue appeared, inside a cramped office at the Guardian newspaper, a young journalist named Eleanor Shaw sat staring at her computer screen. Her desk was buried under notes and old maps. Photos of the bronze statue filled her screen. She muttered to herself, they couldn't have built that thing without official clearance. Her editor made a skeptical sound. But we're talking about Camilla. She's crossed every line before. Your job is to find out who actually made it. Eleanor got to work immediately. She went through records of art projects from the past 3 months. She contacted the Royal Cultural Council and checked customs data. By that afternoon, she found something strange. A shipping container labeled Royal Heritage Sculpture had arrived at Dover Port 2 weeks earlier from Paris. The lead artist listed was Henri Duval. Eleanor froze when she saw that name. Duval had been featured in a major French art magazine. They described him as the sculptor who shapes the soul of power. Now, his name was connected to this royal crisis. 2 days later, Eleanor took the train to Paris. The address led to an old sculpture studio covered in plaster dust. After knocking 3 times, the door opened. Standing there was a tall man with bronze-stained hands. He spoke in broken English. "You're the British journalist?" Eleanor stayed calm. "Yes. I only need to know one thing. The Camilla statue. You made it, didn't you?" For a long moment, Henry said nothing. Then he gave a quiet nod. That small gesture felt like an explosion. Eleanor opened her notebook, but Henri raised his hand. "No recordings," he said firmly. "You listen. I talk." He sat down and stared into the distance. "She approached me about 6 months ago. One of her assistants called saying the royals wanted a statue to honor women in the royal family. I thought it was official, so I agreed to meet." Henri described how Camilla herself came to Paris without ceremony.
And they'll be getting into a car and traveling here to central Paris to the Arc de Triomphe.
No photographers, no guards in uniform, just an elderly secretary and one plainclothes bodyguard. They met in a quiet cafe. "She wasn't like how the media shows her," Henry said softly. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, but her eyes were cold, deep, and calculating. She didn't talk about art, she talked about being remembered. Eleanor raised an eyebrow. "Memory?" Henry nodded. "She told me something I'll never forget. She said, 'People always remember the dead, but I want them to see the living.'" That sentence sent a chill through Eleanor. "She didn't commission a regular statue," Henri continued. "She commissioned a statement. Camilla wanted a face with no emotion, no smile, No tears. She wanted it to show the strength of a woman who doesn't need anyone's love to exist. When Henry suggested that might turn the public against her, Camilla simply smiled. She said, "Sometimes to be respected, you must make the world fear you." Eleanor asked quietly, "Did she tell you why she wanted it at Buckingham?" Henry hesitated, then said yes. She said, "That's where the world looks when they think about the British royals. If her statue stood there, she would never be forgotten." Her exact words were, "When people think of the Queen, I want them to think of me and nobody else." Henri explained the project was planned with military precision. Camilla personally arranged for a private construction company. They used the cover of a square renovation project approved by the Royal Cultural Council, where she served as honorary patron. All documents had real seals. Nobody dared question them. Workers were hired in secret and worked only at night. "I remember the final night," Henri said quietly. When the casting was finished, she came to the studio alone. She stood in front of the statue for almost an hour without saying anything. When I asked if she was happy with it, she answered, "I've waited my entire life for the world to look up at me." He turned to the window. "I don't think she's crazy. She's consumed by the need to exist in history, in a royal family where every woman before her was buried beneath a man's name. She wanted something different." Eleanor sat completely still. "Can I quote her exactly?" Henri nodded. "Yes, but write it truthfully." She said, "When history only remembers dead women, I'll make it remember the living one." Those words echoed like a prophecy. Eleanor knew that single sentence could start a firestorm. 2 days later, her article appeared on The Guardian's front page. The headline read, "The Woman Who Forced History to Look at Her." The story quoted an anonymous French sculptor who worked directly with Camilla. The closing quote set Britain on fire. That evening, television networks carried the news. The BBC opened with steady voices. Sources have confirmed that the Camilla statue was created by French sculptor Henri Duval, under a secret commission from the Queen herself. Duval revealed that the Queen viewed this statue as a statement for a new royal era. Social media exploded. One group condemned her. "She's gone way too far. This isn't art. This is self-worship." But others praised her boldness. "She's fearless. History belongs to people who refuse to be forgotten." Historians joined the debate. On television, a royal expert said something striking. From Queen Victoria to Elizabeth II, no monarch has ever built their own statue while still alive. If this truly was Camilla's decision, it's not just vanity. It's an act of rebellion at the heart of the monarchy itself. The fall from grace. From what Henri revealed, the British public slowly understood the real truth. This wasn't simply artwork. This was the visible outcome of a silent war inside the royal household. A war between memory and jealousy. Between a man trapped by his past and a woman determined not to disappear. Just days before the statue appeared, Charles and Camilla had a bitter fight inside the study at Clarence House. On the desk sat a thick folder marked Confidential Royal Memorial Project. Inside were detailed plans for a memorial to Princess Diana. The king had personally approved it. The design showed a peaceful rose garden with a plaque reading, "In memory of the light that never fades." But for Camilla, that project struck at the core of her pride. When she entered and saw those sketches, her expression hardened. She picked up the file and slammed it shut. "You still can't let her go. Can you, Charles?" she said, her voice shaking with anger. 30 years, and she's still stronger in your heart than I'll ever be."
I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there.
Charles looked up with exhaustion shadowing his face. "This isn't about emotions," he said quietly. "It's a king's duty. Diana represents compassion. The nation needs a place to remember that." Camilla's lips twisted into a bitter smile. And what about me? I've endured the world's scorn, the headlines, the humiliation, and I've stayed by your side. Don't I deserve recognition? Charles turned away. You already have everything, Camilla. Don't ask that history belonged to you as well. Those words exploded like a bomb. Camilla straightened, her voice turning cold. You want the world to honor the woman who haunted you all your life? Fine. Then I'll make sure they remember me too. In bronze, in stone, in a vision they'll never erase. Before he could answer, she stormed out. The door slammed. That very night, Camilla placed 2 calls to her closest allies on the Royal Cultural Council. Her tone was measured. We're launching the Women's Legacy in the Monarchy Project. The inauguration happens tomorrow. Within an hour, impeccably prepared documents arrived, complete with official seals. Camilla had planned it all, waiting for the precise moment Charles uttered Diana's name. Using her patronage status, she ordered the Buckingham forecourt sealed, citing preparations for a ceremony. Under the pretense of site upgrades, she signed an emergency contract with a private construction firm. Workers were hired under confidentiality clauses. None knew what they were building. That night, London lay shrouded in fog. From within came the clang of hammers and hiss of welding torches. Camilla appeared around 2 a.m, wrapped in a dark coat, silently supervising. When the final bolts were fastened, she whispered, "From this moment on, no one will erase me from history." By dawn, the guards froze in disbelief. Before them towered a 3-meter bronze statue. News raced through London. At Windsor, Prince William awoke to his phone buzzing. The first message was from Princess Anne. "Have you seen the news?" He opened the photo, went silent, then called immediately. "Did you know about this?" At Clarence House, Charles sat rigid before the television, staring at the bronze figure. An advisor entered. "Your Majesty, the press is requesting confirmation." Charles turned off the screen and muttered hoarsely, "This can't be real." By afternoon, William and Anne were on a secure call. His tone was grave. "This crosses the final line." "What will you do?" Charles replied steadily. "Call a meeting tonight. Clarence House. No announcements." At 7, the doors opened. William and Anne entered, faces tense. They sat in silence before William spoke. "If we say nothing, by morning, she'll become the face of this dynasty." Charles stared at the table, hands trembling, then he whispered, "Tomorrow, we act. After tomorrow, there will be no more Camilla in this royal family." The following morning, behind sealed doors at Clarence House, an emergency meeting was underway. Camilla arrived last, wearing a deep sapphire dress. She sat as though nothing required explanation. When the room settled, Charles spoke, his voice rough. "What's at stake is the honor of the crown itself." Camilla tilted her head. "Honor? For years, I've been despised, compared, humiliated. All I wanted was to be seen." Anne slammed her palm on the table. "You've been seen enough. You've been forgiven, accepted, crowned. But this isn't about being seen. It's about rewriting history." Camilla's eyes blazed. History's never been kind to women. "I'm claiming my share." William's tone was cutting. "Your share doesn't belong in the royal square. You no longer represent this family." Kate lowered her head, a quiet sob escaping. Anne touched her arm, then turned to Charles. "You have to speak now." Charles rose and walked toward Camilla, voice trembling. "You've turned this palace into a stage for vanity. You've used the royal name for pride. I will not let envy become our legacy. You've dragged us into disgrace."
I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. Throughout her life,
"I cannot let it continue." Camilla's facade cracked. She rose abruptly. "I've stood beside you through every scandal, and this is how you repay me?" Charles turned away. He looked to Anne and William, then nodded. "By decree, They would announce the statue's removal and suspension of all her duties. Heavy silence followed. Camilla gave a trembling laugh. So you're all united against me. Perhaps history will remember me anyway. Anne rose, voice cold. No one exiled you. You did that yourself. Outside, rain fell. Thunder rumbled. Charles sank into his chair, shoulders trembling. That night, a crew arrived to veil the statue in black cloth. It resembled a funeral of a living queen. The next morning brought cold wind. Camilla, wrapped in gray, began walking toward the gates. No ceremony, no car, only machinery beginning the statue's dismantling. Each strike landed with merciless sound. When the head fell, her bronze face split in half, hollow eyes glinting upward. She stopped and turned back. Her voice, rough yet proud, drifted into wind. At least they once saw me standing there. No one answered. From an upper window, Charles stood motionless. Below, William said coldly, "Close the gates." The iron doors shut with a clang. The palace was sealed, and so the story ends. A lone car disappeared through gates, carrying away the woman who vowed to carve her name into history. But all she left was a fracture in stone where light slipped through. A reminder that power built on jealousy always collapses. Do you think Camilla just wanted recognition? Or was this her way of challenging the entire royal family? Where is the line between leaving a legacy and the arrogance that leads to self-destruction? If this story left you speechless, hit that like button right now. Share this with someone who needs to see what happens when ambition goes too far. And don't forget to subscribe, because we're bringing you more shocking royal secrets you won't believe. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done in Charles's position? We want to hear from you.